Hello, and in this session I want to talk about using supporting evidence and referencing in your assignments. And a key question for you to think about is, why do we need supporting evidence? If we're not using supporting evidence, we tend to end up with making evaluations, statements, and opinions, and even beliefs. So our statements are unsupported and they're really just becoming opinions and beliefs. So here's one that I've prepared earlier, a very simple statement: the Earth is quite big. And for those of you who know me, I'd be also pinging probably the words quite and big in here, as these are, very ambiguous words to be using, particularly if you're in at postgraduate level. At undergraduate level, you'll get away with it a bit more. So the question I use whenever I've made a statement such as, the Earth is quite big, I ask, how do I know this to be true? And this sends me off to go and find out the answer to that question. How do I know the Earth to be quite big? And I found out some data whenever I was researching this, that the Earth's equator is approximately 7,900 miles, okay, or just over 12,500 kilometres. It's fairly big to me. So that's my information. That is my supporting evidence. Okay. And I found this on a website, Planets for Kids. Okay. Just Googled it and this is what came out. So this is my source of evidence. So I've got this and it's supporting my original statement of the Earth is quite big. And I know this to be true because it's so many miles, so many kilometres in diameter. So I've got that information and I now need to work out, how do I cite that within my text, within my assignment, and how do I construct the references at the end, your reference list. So I take myself off to the OU Library homepage, and you'll see there's a yellow ellipse here, and there's a link always somewhere on the OU Library homepage where I can click through to the OU's Harvard Guide to Citing References. So when I click on that, it takes me through to an option. Here I can continue on using a web-based system, or I can download it as a PDF. Some people like PDFs. I prefer the online system. Maybe it's because I've got so much paper around my house I don't want any more to leaf through it, and leafing through it on my computer is just a bit tedious, whereas I can drive the contents. So let's have a look at what that might look like. So on the web-based version, we have a contents bar here on the left-hand side. You can see that with my yellow. I want to draw your attention to that. And there's plenty of information at the beginning to tell you about why we're referencing really in here and how to do it. So let's just have a quick look at what might be in this contents list. And I've got two slides, quite a long list of things here. And it's quite useful just to take a little bit of time to see the types of sources that you might be looking for supporting evidence in your assignments. It ranges from a huge variety of books, through journals, newspapers. Your module that you're studying has information, and of course you might be linking to ideas and concepts, so you'll need to reference those within your assignments. Very important there. Some of you may be looking at DVDs. I have yet to have anybody reference a song, so I'm looking forward to that. And then we come on here and we say, ooh, certainly for those who are studying either business management or doing your master's project, organizational websites will be very important. And then we come on to personal communications. So I'm just going to click on to my next slide. Here we've got emails, yeah. So unpublished interviews, that's where we have a discussion with somebody. And I would just like to encourage you to make these anonymous as well. If you have not got the permission of the person to publish their interview or their comment or something like this here, you ethically must not be quoting them. and naming them in there. However, you can just call them by a generic name, Joe Blogs, Josephine Blogs, whatever it might be, quite clearly anonymized source. And indeed, whenever you're working with an organization, sometimes it's better to just call the organization XXX or whatever it might be, rather than the name of the organization. So I'm particularly interested in, for my example here, about the Earth being big and it being so many miles and kilometers, looking at a website. So I'm going to follow this and see where that takes me to. So I'm going to click on that, and that takes me to a screen that looks like this. So in here, it's going to tell us exactly what we've got to do. And unless you're, using references every single day, you're going to have to come in here and do this each time to check that you've got it right. It's only whenever I was doing my PhD that I would remember all of this and know exactly how to do each of my references, because I was doing it all the time. You're not doing it all the time, therefore you come in here and you go shopping for how do I actually refer to this, and we've got the in-cite citation, our in-text citation, about how do we put this within our actual text, and then we've got the full reference, which is in the reference at the end. Okay, so that's how that works. And here's some examples. ND, as you might know, is no date. Okay, but it gives us an example here for us to copy, and this is all you've got to do with your sources of material. Find out the correct web page to go to, and it tells you exactly how to do it. So we've got some, if you do not name the source in the lead into the quote, then it must be given after it. So you're given some further advice in these web pages about how to actually cite within your text. So here was two. One was about blogs, is more critical, and they say something. In this one we haven't mentioned blogs, so we need to put it at the end. And if you do a quote, you would be expected to put that in quote marks, hence the name. Sounds obvious. I also encourage people maybe to use italics to make it absolutely clear that this is a quote. Okay, so going to Planets for Kids, my website, I've got two things identified here. I needed the web address, okay, up here. And I also noticed on my page that I was looking at that there was an author here. So it was Colin Bryn, and there's a date in there. So that's information I will need in my citation and my reference, my full reference. So within my text, my example might look something like this. Okay, fairly simple, but it's the example that's important here. The Earth is quite big. The Earth's equivalent measures X miles, Y kilometers in there, and the author is Bryn in this case, 2013. In my references, this Bryn will turn up as Bryn, and then it was Colm, 2013. So I'm following the format that has been given in the Harvard Guide exactly. So I will now need to actually go back and just check exactly what do I have to do here. So I'll be looking at this information and working out, okay, so I've had Colm, Bryn, C, and then 2013. So I need to do other things in here. So I need other information, and that would lead me to construct my reference. Here, Plants for Kids online, available at Plants for Kids, blah, blah, blah. And then the accessed date for this. Particularly important for web pages, because as we know, web pages change, so the date is important. And in theory, you could always access and find that particular web page on that particular day. That's the theory. Just to let you know, I never go off looking for that sort of thing. So, any questions, I want you to send them to me on the TGF. You know what that is. And I'd be delighted to help you out with that. Thanks very much for listening.